Hi, my name is Jen Rulon, and you may know me as Coach Jen. After knocking out 15 Ironman triathlons, I am an everyday, healthy human just like you. In this podcast, we will discuss how to metamorphosize into an everyday, healthy human through healthy physical habits and mindsets, as well as authentic living. Let's transform together in this journey called life and become the best, everyday, healthy human ever. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. My name is Jen Rulon, or you may know me as Coach Jen. Today, our guest is Michelle Valimont. I call her M. She calls me J, and we have been besties for quite some time. And this is the crazy story about M and I, is that we found somebody connected us on Twitter, and they were like, hey, you guys would be really good friends. And oh my God, that was in, what was that, 2016?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I needed to get Emma on because she has been one of my number one supporter from the day we met. And I just love her story because I think a lot of people think when they see us, doing the Ironmans, doing these 50Ks, these 20, M does these long ass runs, which I think our people are crazy for that. But I think when people see that, they don't see the background of how we got there. And so I knew immediately that when I was starting this podcast that she was going to be one of my guests. So instead of me introducing Michelle to you, or who I call M, I will let Michelle do the introduction for herself. Thank you for jumping on my podcast and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure to see you.
Always a pleasure.
As Jay said, I'm Michelle, or aka M, and I am in my 5.0-ish version of me, and we'll talk later about that. And I put myself through school when I was a single mom. I've been divorced for over 25 years, and life does go on. I have started a business, and I'm successful with that. That's been going for 8 years, and that kind of has helped me also become who I am, because I've evolved a lot through those times. You have your peaks, you have your valleys, and you stay looking forward. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your crazy ass running background?
Absolutely. I started running when I was in the process of getting divorced, and I continued to run because it was my time. It was my escape. It was my downtime. It was what is going on. I could focus. And at that time, I couldn't even run around the block. I couldn't even run a mile. Well, fast forward, I ended up finding some people back east where I was from and where I was getting divorced at. And they pushed me and they helped develop me to become a better runner. And in regards to that, it spilled over into my schooling, into my work. I was working full time as well. And then I moved to Arizona, and my girlfriend was like, let's go on a hike. Oh, okay. I've never hiked in my life. So here I am, I'm hiking, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I wonder if I could run this. So I started running trails. So I converted from road running to desert running. So I went from a road runner to a desert fox runner, and I end up running trails, and I love it. I've done multiple 50Ks. A couple years ago when the world shut down. Yeah, 2020. In 2020, when things kind of got misaligned throughout everywhere, I turned to the trail, and I was pushing myself, and I ended up doing 250Ks back to back, and it's what it is now, and I love it. And I will say I have done a triathlon, so I understand multi-sport in one thing, in one time and in one day. And I get that too. I'm not the best swimmer, as Jay excels in that. I am not a good swimmer, but I can hold my own. And I would rather paddleboard. That would be fun. I think that's what they should do. They should have like a run, a paddleboard, and a bike.
In Costa Rica, I started following race directing. They do paddleboard and run.
Oh, really?
Yes. And guess who bought that paddleboard?
I know. Are you doing that? Oh, yes. So actually,
first of all, you have to teach me how to paddleboard because I suck at it.
I can definitely do that.
Yeah. So that's something I need to. I went out there and I laughed so hard like a little kid and I fell off. I don't know how many times, but I'm like, damn it, I'm going to get this accomplished. I'll figure it out. I got to go at low tide. I went out at high tide and it was I was surfing more than anything. So anyways.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways. So yeah, when you come down to Costa Rica, maybe that's what you do is you plan your trip down here and you go do a paddleboard run.
Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing. Oh, okay. Done.
Done.
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Done.
So like my podcast isn't just about triathletes. It's just not about runners. It's about people who want to strive to be their best as we age into that cycle of life, like how do we become a better version of ourselves? And then how do we become, how do we get out of that habit of like, oh, I feel like I have to swim, bike and run, or I have to run, or I have to, like you're changing it up. Like you've realized that you're like, I want to paddleboard. Like I'm not the best swimmer, but what if I paddleboard and run? As you are into your M 5.0, what do you think is the changing factor for you on this journey called life?
So a couple of things. One is to really listen to myself. So my body will tell me, you're not ready for this today, or you can't do this today. We're just going to take some downtime and rest and get you to a point where you can do it. So it's not so much of it's a mindset. It's not the I cannot do that. It's we're going to pause you for a moment and we're going to do this later. That leads me into the next one is that it's a mindset. It's the always remaining forward moving and in a positive direction and that's been this year, 2023. That's been my focus for the entire year. It kind of started last year. I knew what to do, but I was like, how do I do that? So it's been a lot of ups and downs, peaks and valleys. What can I do? Am I doing this right? I don't know what's going on with me. And changing my mindset to, okay, breathe through it. Don't get caught on the negative or the no, I can't do this. Switch it. So just dial it just a little bit and go, okay, you know what? I need this downtime. I need to catch my breath. Let's get recentered. Let's get refocused. And now you go. And so that means it doesn't really go that quickly. Sometimes it takes a couple days to get there.
True.
But eventually you will get there. And patience is not my strongest suit either. So it's been a lot of patience and working and trusting the process, which, you being a coach, you're like, just trust the process. And some people don't understand what that means until they're possibly 3/4 of the way through it. And then they have the aha moment, or someone says to them, dial it different. And it's just the way someone says it, or it's just something that you hear that maybe you've heard 20 times before. And now it clicks, that aha moment, like, oh,
right.
That's what that means.
And I think too, like with the athletes that I coach, and I'm still coaching triathletes all around the world, I always share with them, it's like, one, like you said, trust the process, but two, your body knows yourself better than the calendar of the workouts that I give you. So if all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'm exhausted today, Like, I don't think I can knock out that bike interval today, but what I could do is maybe reach out to coach, see if I could flip, the swim and the bike. And it's just listening to yourself, listening to the body, because in the 20s and 30s, we did pretty well. Like, we just sort of pushed through it. But now, as we are aging into like a fine non-alcoholic wine, into our 5.0, like, we have to really listen in. And if you're exhausted as all get out, like, you have to shift your mindset, like you said.
Yep. For me, it was understanding what that trust the process was or is, because every day I write it. It's on my mirror. Trust the process. Whatever that process is, whether it's in regards to running, paddleboarding, work, you have to trust it because you get it. Like, it'll be second nature for you once you do understand and grasp it and say, okay, you know what? I got this. I 100% got this,
Yeah.
It is trusting the process.
It is. So I know you. You're like one of my besties. Let's just throw that out there. So my question, maybe if there's something that you want to share, you've had a lot of transformations over the years with your son, with your divorce, with work, with different jobs you've had. Is there a pivotal moment or experience that sparked one of your transformations that you can share?
Well, there's been many. Pivotal moments, and I can give you the most recent one, which I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I'll just be very transparent with it. When you don't belong somewhere, whether that's with a client, whether that's in a race, whether that's in a relationship, and it's the mindset that you didn't do anything wrong, but you are there for a reason, and it's a stepping stone to the next level. Whether it's me being in my 5.0-ish and going through menopause, that's a whole pivotal thing that's happening right now, or whether it's in a relationship that you don't know that you're supposed to be in, or if it's in a work relationship that you are in and you know that it's not benefiting you and it's giving you more stress. It's giving you more anxiety. And it's okay to say, I'm done. It's okay. Again, it goes back to trust the process, trust the universe, trust God, whatever your beliefs are. And it's knowing that once you make that decision, you will know that it's the right decision, because you know what? You'll have this weight lifted off. You'll feel like you're back in balance, or you're gaining back into balance. And I was there. I was in a job that I was helping out friends, and I just didn't feel that it was where I was supposed to be anymore. But I can say that they helped me get me through that process, because I actually ended up going to a couple seminars that really helped me believe in myself, that even though this isn't the right place where I belong, I was there for a reason. That reason was to go through the retreats and the seminars that I did to get me to here today. And so I'm thankful that happened. It was a hard part, but you know what? I did it, and I'm better for it. And I've, been able to get different aspects out of the trainings, out of the seminars, and look back and go through different things where go through life with a different viewpoint, dialing, changing the dial just 2 more stations over is pivotal to understanding. Instead of, you want to dial it up, you don't want to dial it back or dial it down, dial it up. So, you're going from, 99.9 to 107.9 or whatever, it's That's what it is. It's those
Great.
two little dials, 2 little degrees.
I love it because I think some people sit there and they think, oh, I am supposed to be doing this for the rest of my life. This is what my dream was, blah, blah, blah. I mean, prime example, I stopped doing Ironmans in 2019 because I asked the universe, I said, universe, I need 2 things from you. Either 1, I qualify for Kona, or 2, I have the best race of my life and I'm done. And
right.
I had the best race of my life and I placed 7th in my age group and I knew that I was done with Ironmans. And then I was like, oh, fuck, what do I do now? And I wanted to do this podcast since 2019 and then 2020 happened and then life happened. And then finally, here we are 4 years later, finally launching it, but it was the right time, right? It was, it wasn't, and that's what I talk about in one of my podcasts earlier about why I started this podcast. And it took a while to process it. Anyways, I love it. I love it. Since I've known you, your mindset has shifted drastically. What one advice could you give to our followers about making that change based off of your mindset?
It's not easy, but it's necessary. And for me, what I did to make it a habit is I paired it up with something else. Meaning, I wrote it on my mirror. I'm brushing my teeth. Guess what I'm seeing? Trust the process, whatever that process is. So it's pairing it on top of something that you already do. I also have it written when I cook, when I grill. It's always there. What I've done recently is I've put it into my phone as a reminder. So it pops up. And so now it's my I am statement. So instead of trusting the process, it's my I am statement. So who am I? I am strong. I am confident. I am bold. I am whatever you are that day. That's what it is. So I paired it up. Now that one changes a little bit, but I have my main I am statement, but then it goes to what I'm doing for the day, for work, for exercise, for relationships, whatever it is. And so it's just a reminder. So to sum all that up, pair it up with something that you already do.
Love it. Brushing your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Brush your teeth if you're cooking, if you're opening the refrigerator, if you're getting your coffee, put it there and it'll work and it'll sink in. And I think that's the best advice. And I didn't learn that from anybody. That was just, where am I always at? I'm always on my phone. So why not have a reminder like, and then it's connected to my watch and I'm like, oh yeah, I am confident. Oh yeah, and you never know when that's going to come up. I mean, of course you're going to put it in as a reminder, but it's just like, and you are reading it. I am confident. I am bold. I am who I am.
The other day, I was watching a YouTube video with Wayne Dyer, who is incredible. If people don't know who he is, you need to check him out. He talked about that the last 5 minutes before you go to bed are the most important, because if you're in bed and you go into that subconscious of those 5 minutes before you actually fall asleep, and you sit there and you think about, oh my God, I don't have enough money. I'm stressed. I'm not happy. I'm in a terrible relationship. I hate my job, like blah, blah, blah. Like you could just, so then all of a sudden you go into that and into your sleep, your mind is thinking all of that, right? But if you start falling asleep with, I have enough money, I am in a beautiful relationship, I love my job or whatever, I am confident, I am strong. It's like those affirmations, but you do those 5 minutes before you go to sleep. Your mind is going to reprogram yourself during your sleep. And I thought that was so profound of just seeing that YouTube video. And I was like, that's it. That's it. So like the last, couple nights I've been doing that with myself. I am confident. I am strong. I am happy. What am I talking about? I live in Costa Rica, living the best life that I have, but I had those moments of stress of financial, right? I mean, I think it's very common. Okay. So let's wrap this up. Where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram a lot, and that is just.michelle.b. So it's Michelle, Michele.b. Or you can just find me on Jen's friend list.
That's true. You could. Or you go to a post and you'll see her post something.
Yes. Like, that's my bestie.
Exactly.
Or go, Jay. And see, the other one is Twitter, and I'm active on Twitter. And that one, my handle is at the Desert Fox with 2 X's, 007.
I like that. That's right. That's how we originally got together. And now I'm not on Twitter at all.
I know. That's okay. I know how to find you on Instagram.
You do. And you sort of got my number.
Sort of, maybe, kinda. Yeah.
Sort of, kinda. All right. One last question for the followers. What is one final thought that you could give to our followers about how to start their own transformation and become their own beautiful butterfly?
Believe in yourself that it is the right thing to do and that it will take time and to have patience.
Perfect. Love it. All right, y'all. If you are loving the Everyday Healthy Human podcast, we would love for you to rate, subscribe, share with your friends, leave a comment, share with your besties, because down in Costa Rica, we say Pura Vida. Ciao.